Hello, Dark Reader, and welcome to the Dark Side of the Library podcast. I'm your host, Katie, and today on this not mini-sode, but kind of mini-sode, we are going to be covering all of the October comic and graphic novel releases. I'm really excited because there's quite a few really cool ones that are coming out by a ton of different publishers. So let's get started. Our first one is Blood Tree. This is by Peter J. Tomasi and Maxim Simic as the artist. We have two obsessed NYPD detectives. Who isn't a detective who is not obsessed out of curiosity in pop culture anyway? So we have these detectives on the hunt. They're looking for a vicious butcher called the Angel Killer, who's a sociopath, and they prey on innocent family members of known murderers in order to purify the rest of society. I mean, already I'm in. This comic is supposed to confront the battle of nature versus nature, how present and future generations are tainted by past generations, and asks who must pay for the sins of the fathers, and perhaps the mothers too. This is Blood Tree. This is by Peter J. Tomasi and is by Image Comics. Next up is another great one. It's Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer, The Lost Summer. This comes out October 31st. This is by Casey Gilly, and Lauren Knight is the illustrator. We have more adventures for Buffy fans. So it seems like we're slowly getting back into the Buffy-verse, because I swear there's like a precursor to this book, but I could be wrong. So here we go. It says, Dawn utters a wish she most likely should have kept to herself, and the gang gains a first-hand account of the sisters' identities, beyond what they could have imagined. Meanwhile, it's been 4 years, and Buffy, Spike, and Tess have been living in relative peace as a dysfunctionally cozy family. Isn't that? I mean, that's all we can ask for. But nothing can last forever. There's strange new vampires that have been sighted, and they're trying to get to the bottom of these unfolding horrors. We have our Buffy gang who's going to have to head underground. They face horrifying true cause of the decline in vampire activity. So this is only 112 pages. This looks like a lot of fun. The illustrations are stunning. This is Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer, The Lost Summers. Next up on our list, this is fun. It is not necessarily a comic, but if you're an art person, this is the chillingly weird art of Max Fox. So this is by Roger Hill, Peter Normanton, John B. Cooke, and much, much more. Of course, Matt Fox and his art. This comes out October 3. So Matt Fox actually died in 1988, and he gained notoriety for his jarring cover paintings on things like Weird Tales from 1943 to 1951. His almost primitive artistry encompassed ghouls, demons, and grotesqueries of all types, evoking a disquieting horror vibe that no one since has ever matched. I mean, if you look at the cover here, which I posted over on YouTube, you can see it is very interesting. I haven't seen very much art like this, especially currently. So we learn more about Fox's life. Apparently, he suffered with chronic pain, and it permeated a lot of his illustrations and his story of chilling tales, and putting them at the top of all pre-code horror comic enthusiasts' want lists. We get to learn more about Fox's life, why he created the comics that he created. We get to see his illustrations side by side with his life, and a ton of other cool things. So this is the chillingly weird art of Matt Fox. Next up, we have A Christmas Bestiary. This comes out October 31st. This is by Kenn Mortensen and Benni Bødker. I am really excited. So if you have been keeping up with our other podcast list, and if you haven't, checked them out at darksideofthelibrary.com. We have a lot of spooky Christmas-oriented books and comics coming out, and it's really awesome. This is the exact kind of Christmas I love. So this is a tongue-in-cheek guide to the beasts to watch out for during Christmas time. So in the wintry season, we delight in joyful thoughts of family, ha ha ha, that's funny, presents and sugar plums. But the night is dark and it is full of terrors, and that is what Christmas used to be all about. So this is a guidebook to all the horrors that await us during the darkest time of year. There's common creatures like the Baba Yaga and Krampus, but then we have other creatures that maybe some people aren't familiar with, including myself. Gryla, Yule White is another one. We have brief text entries that include the lore and background of all of these different creatures, plus information such as the danger level and who's going to be able to survive this and how do you survive these monsters. A lot of these are in this beautiful pen ink drawings, very gothic, very gruesome. It's creepy and it's really fun. This is a great addition to anybody who loves creepy Christmas or monsters. This is a Christmas bestiary. This is by Kenn Mortensen and Benni Bødker. All right, next is perfect. Speaking of monsters, if you love the ultimate monster creator, H.P. Lovecraft, we have a comic called The Dunwich Horror. This comes out October 31st. The artist is Francois Baranger. So we have Dunwich, which is a remote village in Massachusetts, lost in the depths of the inhospitable countryside with dark valleys invaded by brambles. The old stories of witches are still alive, and strange subterranean noises resound at times under the hills surmounted by mysterious circles of stones. Well, sounds fun. We have an isolated farm in the region. Lavinia is a simple-minded albino, and she gives birth to a child, Wilbur, whose father is unknown. Old Whately, Lavinia's father, raises Wilbur while arousing the suspicion of the neighboring inhabitants who are frightened by the speed of growth of the child and his repulsive facies. Rumors of witchcraft have always swirled about old Whately, and after his death, Wilbur, upon reaching adulthood, became determined to increase the unholy knowledge imparted to him. To reach his goal, he goes to the Miskatonic University of Arkham to borrow the copy of the sinister Necronomicon in their possession. We have Professor Armitage, understanding the malevolent intentions of his visitor, refuses to accede to his request. Thus, we now have this beautiful illustrated version of the story is now born. This is a $31, 64-page conceptualized version of the Dunwich Horror. I'm pretty excited to take a look inside. So if you are also interested, maybe you've read the story before, very familiar with it, you might want to check out the Dunwich Horror. This is by Francois Baranger. Next on our list today is the Izombie Omnibus. This is by Chris Roberson and Michael Allred is the illustrator, and this comes out October 24th. Gwen Dylan is a gravedigger in an eco-friendly cemetery and a zombie detective. Once a month, she has to eat a human brain, both to keep from going all Night of the Living Dead and to keep her own memories intact. As a result, Gwen's mind is crowded with the dead person's thoughts, and lately she feels compelled to fulfill their final requests. This sounds like a really fun comic, and this is 656 pages. This is $125. It's a hardcover. So speaking of Christmas, this would make a fantastic Christmas present for anybody who loves this comic already. I've never actually heard of it, so this is something I'm really interested in. I might pick up 1 or 2 copies from the library and see if I really dig it, because I love zombies. But this, again, great Christmas gift. So this is the Izombie Omnibus, an adventure about a grave-digging zombie detective who's also seemingly a zombie, and it's won a couple of awards for both the art and the writing. Next, we have Let Me Out. This is by Emmett Nahil, and George Williams is the illustrator. This came out October 3rd. It's got a really cute cover. It's a face-off with the devil. It's a queer horror story that's set against the backdrop of an outbreak of the Satanic Panic sweeping the New Jersey suburbs in 1979. When Pastor Holly's wife Kelly is found murdered, FBI agent Garrett takes on the case with local New Jersey Sheriff Mullen. Together, they start drumming up a convenient satanic-flavored scapegoat to cover up their own crimes of murder and experimentation. Oh my god. The scapegoat comes in the form of 4 friends: Mitch, Terry, Lupe, and Jackson. The punks, the queers, and the outcasts. Soon the group becomes the prime suspects of Kelly's murder. Now on the run from Garrett and Mullen, the group finds themselves in the midst of a deal with the devil himself. The art is really cute, actually. It's fun, it's really unique, but it's very dark and very gruesome at the same time. I'm showing a few of these over on our YouTube channel so you can see a few of the panels. So this is Let Me Out. This is by Emmett Nahil and George Williams. I'm pretty excited about it. It's cute. I say that in a very loving, dark way, of course. Next, we have, of course, the monster-sized Hellboy. Okay, so speaking of gifts, and honestly, holy crap, this is 1,512 pages. You thought I was going to say price, didn't you? No, those are the pages. This is only, for that many pages, $118. Okay, so this is a perfect gift. Anybody who loves Mike Mignola is going to very much love this entire compendium. So this is a huge tome where you get to basically experience all of the big main Hellboy story. This is the largest format ever, and it collects all the stories and graphic novels contained in, for instance, Hellboy Omnibus, volumes 1 through 4. We have Seeds of Destruction, Wake the Devil, The Chained Coffin, Almost Colossus, etc., etc. There's a ton in here, as you could probably tell. So if you didn't know, we have not just Mike Mignola illustrates, Duncan Fagretto, also Dave Stewart, Clem Robbins is another illustrator. We get a ton of beautiful artwork in here. It's awesome. And the cover is also a new cover by Mike Mignola featuring our awesome Hellboy. It's really, 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 really cool. Seriously. So this is the monster-sized Hellboy. This comes out October 31st, of course, by Mike Mignola. Next up, we have The Nice House on the Lake. This is the deluxe version, so 400 pages. I like that we're now, all of these big editions are definitely prepping for holiday season. This is by James Tynion IV, who did a ton. He's done a lot. Like Something is Killing the Children and The Department of Truth. The illustrator is Alvaro Martino Bueno. So this is what the story is about. Everyone who is invited to the house knows Walter. Well, they know him a little anyway. Some met him in childhood, and then some met him months ago. And Walter's always been a little off. But after the hardest year of their lives, nobody was going to turn down Walter's invitation to an astonishingly beautiful house in the woods, overlooking an enormous sylvan lake. It's beautiful, it's opulent, it's private. So a week of putting up with Walter's weird little schemes and nicknames in exchange for the vacation of a lifetime. Well, why not? All of them were, at the moment, in their lives when they could feel themselves pulling away from their other friends, wouldn't take a chance to reconnect, be nice. In The Nice House on the Lake, we have overriding anxieties of the 21st century get a new face, and it just might be the face of the person you trusted the most. Sounds interesting. The art is pretty fantastic, and it's obviously pretty eerie, but the description's kind of like, I don't know. So now I'm curious about it. I'll probably pick up the first parts. This is a collection of The Nice House on the Lake, volumes 1 through 12. So if this is of interest to you, check out the deluxe edition. It comes out October 24th. Next, we have one that I'm very excited about. I have not ordered it yet, but I'm going to because I need to read it. It's The Night Eaters, Her Little Reapers. This is volume 2 of the Night Eaters book series by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda, who are amazing. Amazing. This is a new horror volume trilogy, so this is number 2. The last one came out last year, so I've literally been waiting a year. So I'm not going to spoil it for you, but this has got a creepy little house. We have a Chinese immigrant family who's tried to give their twin children everything they could possibly wish for. The twins kind of are a little bit, they're a little slackery. They constantly need help, and the parents were hardworking, and, now they're over here trying to help their kids. Anyway, but it's really fun. It has a lot of themes in here, and it's really creepy. It's got beautiful art. Santa Takeda is a fantastic artist, and Marjorie Liu is an amazing author. Check out the first one. But if you have been anticipating the second installment of The Night Eaters, we have it finally. This is The Night Eaters, Her Little Reapers. Next up, we have Parasocial. This came out October 3rd. This is by Alex DeCampi, and Erica Henderson is the artist. In the middle of the pandemic, a fading genre TV actor, fresh from his long-running series cancellation, collides with an obsessive fan at a Texas con. When she lures him to her home, he'll have to put on the greatest performance of his life simply to survive the morning. Unless, of course, he's the real monster. This is fun. I like this. This isn't too long. This would be a great read, and it's kind of, based in realism too. It's freaky. So this is apparently a psychosexual thriller. It's a horror reinterpretation. It is Parasocial. This is by Alex DeCampi and Erica Henderson. Next on our list today has amazing art. This is by Juan L. Torres and Joe Baccardo. This is Phantasmagoria, and this came out October 3rd. In Victorian London, an occult lodge has released into our world an entity, an intruder from the other side of our reality. The creature possesses a young lady, driving her to create a magical artifact. It's called the Phantom Lens. It absorbs the souls of the recently dead. Two brothers, two enemies locked in an eternal feud that has lasted thousands of years. Professor Hawk and Edwin Drodd. This is a beautiful, beautiful graphic novel. It's like Penny Dreadful with ghosts and spirits and magic, and this is black and white illustrations, very creepy. You'll see some panels over on our YouTube channel. This is Phantasmagoria. This is by Juan L. Torres and Joe Baccardo. Next up, we have one with a fun cover with inky person. It's just ink covering this person up, and they look sad. I would too if I had ink all over myself. This is Shadow Hills. This is by Sean Ford, and it came out October 10th. The deeply divided residents of Shadow Hills must face their past or certain annihilation. Environmental disturbances and a mysterious epidemic wreak havoc on a remote, struggling town of Shadow Hills. Their rivalrous townsfolk race to find a cure and uncover the source of the threat before it destroys the entire community. Their search for answers leads them into the depths of the buried past. So that's all I have about this particular graphic novel. It looks interesting, different. This is published by Secret Acres. This is Shadow Hills by Sean Ford. Next up, we have one that looks kind of fun. This is called Whisper of the Woods. It comes out October 24th, and it's by Anna Yurov. So it says, what happens when a foreigner doesn't listen to the locals' warnings and dives headfirst into a haunted forest? I imagine not good things. In his search of his missing friend, Adam travels to the heart of Romania's most supernatural forest. Disregarding the locals' warnings of Iele hunting the men in the vicinity and the witch's premonition of his impending death, he remains steadfast in his decision to find his friend, though with every passing night, it becomes impossible to ignore the happenings around him. I love the art here. It's really cool. Very simple, but still pretty sinister. This is Whisper of the Woods by Anna Yurov, and we also have Micah Myers that is the artist. So that actually finishes up our graphic novels that are coming out in October. We do have quite a few. Don't forget, there's other comic books that are being released. More mainstream superhero comics, of course, and a couple other reiterations, revisits, that sort of thing. Stay tuned for more. There's a ton of cool comics that are coming out November, December, January, and 2024. I mean, really cool stuff. Make sure to come join us over on our Facebook, YouTube, and our Instagram if you are a huge fan of dark reads, we do publish every Wednesday and Friday. So check out our show notes. We have a list of all the books you could possibly find that are horror-oriented. And make sure to comment on your favorite listening app over here on YouTube. And make sure to subscribe. Spread the word of Dark Side of the Library to your loved ones. Thank you so much for your continued support. We'll talk to you later.